Mercedes.
Mercedes AMG Patronus.
Upgrades.
There were rumours that actually they were doing something very different with the side pod.
Monaco.
The Monaco Grand Prix.
You know, there's a lot riding on this. Don't believe me? Well, allow me to refresh your memory.
Mercedes not happy. Red Bull will be delighted. Max Verstappen is champion of the world.
A sequence of events that none of us have seen before.
The two contenders equal on points, side by side on the front row of the grid. You could not write a better plot than this.
On the first lap, Hamilton took the lead. Then, as Verstappen tried to overtake, Hamilton left the track, cut a corner and stayed in front. And with 5 laps to go, the Canadian driver, Nicholas Latifi, crashed. There was debris all over the track. The cars didn't stop, but they stopped racing. And they now followed the safety car. These laps counted. So if the safety car did 5 laps, Hamilton would be world champion. But with the final lap approaching, the race director ordered the safety car to come in. And as the championship reached its finale, Verstappen passed Hamilton, fended off a counterattack and won.
2022 was going to be the rematch to end all rematches, but we just needed the boys and girls at Brackley to build another rocket ship, or at the very least, a car capable. But at the tender age of 38 years old for Lewis, winning a record-breaking 8th was always going to be a race against time. Make no mistake, time's ticking. But then on February the 8th, 2022, Mercedes revealed their weapon of choice. This was the car they'd abandoned developing a 2021 car to focus on. It had to be the car that would bring in a new era of Mercedes dominance, the car that would power Lewis to a record-breaking 8th.
Mercedes concept we didn't anticipate.
Side pods.
The side pods. The side pods.
Your side pods. Ooh. Yeah, they're very slim.
Zeropod, slimpod. What the
Are we going to still see the zeropod? It's going to stick around for a bit longer, do you think? The slim.
What in the Nicholas Latifi was this? Oh, I know what they'd done here. This was a double diffuser jobby, right? The boffins at Mercedes had trawled through the regs and found the cheat codes. Bravo. But hold on, let's take a step back for a second. What was the big deal around all this side pod stuff? And why does as near as makes no difference every F1 car that has ever F1'd have them? Well, the side pod manages the effects of air around the body of the car with a view to maximise downforce and to the speed the car can take through twisties. The side pods house the manifolds and the radiators which somehow stop the engine blowing up. I don't know anything about that stuff, but what I do know is that the first F1 car to use side pods in earnest was the Lotus 72, and that might be the best F1 car that's ever F1. But in stark contrast to Colin Chapman, the genius behind the 72, the boffins at Mercedes had chosen the keto diet approach, so pencil slim were their side pods. Blink and you'd miss them. This meant no aggressive side pod undercut and a floor that was oddly exposed, unstable. The performance was there, but the curve was peaky. And remember, this flies in the face of a mantra that the goatiest of aero boffins swear by. Sacrifice a 10th in absolute performance at the altar of stability. Because weapons grade drivers with a bit of confidence in a stable package will always get you that 10th back. So given the many benefits to having normal side pods, why would Merc do such a thing? What was the rationale behind this no side pod having W13? Well, the car's reduced aero profile should have made it dragster quick on the straights. But how would it handle the twisties, eh? And what brand of Harry Potter sorcery was stopping the engine from blowing up? All we knew for sure was that it was a design philosophy so revolutionary that only the brave or the stupid would have backed against it being a championship contender. Because in the turbo hybrid era, there's one rule: right off the Silver Arrows car at your peril. I mean, even the big fella himself said it.
My team don't make mistakes.
I don't know about all that, mate. But whilst you're here, Lewis, the boffins at YouTube are telling me that 97% of people watching this aren't even subscribed.
Man, I mean, it's just ridiculous, man.
It gets even worse. Some say they don't even want to subscribe. What do you say to that, Lewis?
And be like, come on, guys, this is where we're going. Get off your asses. We're gonna get there, you know.
I mean, you heard it from the legend himself. So why didn't this design philosophy work then? Well, it kinda did. At a ride height so low that it triggered porpoising, in cooler climbs and high altitude tracks. And I say that to say that the boffins at Merc had seen championship pace in their models. The theory behind the zeropod, oh, that was sound. But in practice on a 22 race calendar, The stars just didn't align. Toto and co just couldn't access the peaks of a very peaky performance curve. The juice simply wasn't worth the squeeze. Lest we forget that Mercedes had been pursuing a slender design philosophy throughout its winning years. But this was an era when barge boards did the bulk of the heavy lifting when it came to managing front tyre wake. But with barge boards made illegal as of 22, 9 teams made their side pods wider, more robust, with a view to have them do some of the wake management that barge boards used to. Meanwhile, in Brackley, Messrs Hamilton and Russell couldn't stop complaining about rear instability. What in the Red Bull could be causing that? Merck had taken a gamble that was as brave as it was stupid. It was one that hadn't paid off. But some say that Mercedes' zero-pod philosophy wasn't even their biggest mistake, because even the goatiest of aero boffins will design a shitbox every once in a while. And what's criminal is that Toto and his cronies allowed a lucky victory in Brazil to trick them into rocking up 1 year later with the same failed design concept.
Is she going to be as fast as she looks? I hope so, but definitely there is a lot of excitement in putting the car finally on the road.
One of the worst days in racing.
Well, this is a tragedy now of Shakespearean proportions. Lest we forget, we're due a rematch. And how about that 8th? Because all the while, time is ticking. With Mercedes set to unveil a raft of upgrades at the Monaco Grand Prix this weekend. All is not lost, comrades, because something tells me that no pods might be no more. So what now then? Well, it's obvious, right? Stick the side pods and we're good to go. Well, not so fast, young Padawan. The ills of the concept don't start and end with side pods. The underfloor's not covered itself in glory either. Same for the front and the rear suspension. There is no silver bullet here. Bolting on Red Bull side pods won't make the car a world beater, because Red Bull side pods are optimised, of course, for their own RB19. So in addition to proper side pods then, what else can we expect to see? Well, as a start for 10, there'll be a brand new front suspension configured specially to work with this new concept. Expect a new aero-efficient floor, but no new chassis just yet. This is a cost cap era, remember, and so the days of casually throwing 400 million at a problem, gonzo. Mercedes upgrades at Monaco won't be the final exam answer. They're not a panacea. What Monaco represents for the Brackley outfit is a reset, an admission of guilt of sorts. And you know, I don't hate that. It's a start at least, because what these bits and bobs should provide is a more predictable base, something that Messrs Hamilton and Russell can drive at 10 tenths without fear of impending doom. I mean, that's not too much to ask, is it? Lewis has complained endlessly about the cockpit being too far forward and this interfering with his ability to be able to feel his way through a corner. Expect Mert then to shove the cockpit back 15 centimetres close to the rear wheels. But why Monaco though? What's the point in bringing all this new stuff to a track that's unlike any other on the existing calendar? I mean, there's not even any meaningful data to gather around here. And God forbid either driver pulls a Latifi, that would set the whole operation back months and millions of pounds. I mean, Barcelona is a test track and that's the very next race. Mercedes, this is madness. Why now? Well, it's got to be now.
Realize that you can't change the past. All you can do is change the future.
Because it's now or never. Because Lewis is entering the twilight of his career. Because the time to expire on both Toto and Lewis's contracts. Months, not years. It had to be now because of the humiliating chasm between Mercedes and the race lead. It had to be now because of Abu Dhabi. Because of the 8th. Because he is the greatest. Because he's 38. Because it's F1 and Father Time is undefeated, undisputed, has never lost the race. It's now or never, now more than ever. Because times are ticking. If you like that one, you'll love this one and why Lewis might end up at Ferrari.